So I'm just going to go through this one a little bit slower here. My question is, how do you even catch people of covert narcissism in that way? That's just aiming to take your life, with your money progressively disappearing on you, and with the intent of having such things happen to you. It leaves you running around while they're ruining your life with absolution in aim, and you're really unable to discover it, or the intent, rather, because these people are supposed to be lovers, loving you and caring about what you're going through, and rather than ensure that you're not, or rather ensuring that you're not going to be able to live to see the next day, that's how they operate. And so, I guess I just wanted to know what would consist of proof that the police would be looking for when, given the extent of this crime, you really don't have the ability to use your own money or your time for those resources that you need to be able to consist of somehow being able to not only secure your place, but your right to have discovery and being treated as though this is such a long-standing crime. I just don't see that how it can be made so to where, like, you're just disposable human flesh. If there's nothing you can do but allow these people to poison you up. You can't even fucking think straight, let alone, like, if these covert attacks would allow you to ever have the time or resource to ever gain any kind of ability of yourself, like your original self, so you're just completely lost on yourself, to be able to, like, actually record or set up things to have evidence without a shadow of a doubt. And with that being said, it's just happening to you, and you need proof. So what would consist of proof here is my question, because my whole life has been turned into this war over me with that intent over the internet, cyber warfare, stealing my old phone number right after hacking my Facebook, getting my Gmail. I thought, well, I better change my fucking phone number, so I went and changed my number, and as soon as I'm doing that, my actual new phone is hijacked. So not only do they have all of my information, but they have my new information now as well, to continue moving in that same way. And so it's really scary what happens there, because I went in to try and switch my number back just to be able to get my email back, and they couldn't even do that. I'm like, well, can I send a code to the phone number before it's sold to somebody else? Well, the number was already on hold. The number, like, legitimately, probably like 20 minutes later, the number was already, like, held. Like, she couldn't do anything with the phone number. So I'm like, okay, well, this puts me in a really sticky situation, because, like, I literally just did this to, like, stop being hacked, and now I'm even worse hacked. So I really don't know what to do about any of this shit. And then all of a sudden, right when you're being able to find this stuff out and all these things are happening, well, all of a sudden your G is coming around and poisoning you up. So you don't know what to ensure, or how to ensure your own safety correctly, or reason to be able to think correctly, to be able to see your way out of a situation correctly, or what are you supposed to do here? Like, what the fuck are you actually supposed to do here? And so, in that situation, it's like you're losing your life, you're losing your abilities, you're losing your finances, you're losing your love life, you're losing so many different areas of your life all at once. And then these suggested attacks are like, what are you supposed to do to get out of it? And it's just the feelings that keep happening to you to be targeting you. When just in my own health, I started developing the patterns that were happening, and I started calling them out after a while. I was trying to hold tight as long as I could, but I really wanted the proof of these things, hard evidence that these things weren't happening, They couldn't provide me with any kind of evidence as to the fact that they weren't lying or cheating or being manipulative about the things that they were doing. And that created a really hard place for me in my daily life and grind for anything I wanted to do with my abilities, job, or anywhere in life. I was being targeted. If I was out rollerblading, I was being targeted. If I was going to work, I was being targeted. If I was coming home, I was being targeted. If I was at her house, I was being targeted. Doesn't matter where I would go in my life. It just didn't allow me to feel like I was safe anywhere I'd go, to even try to secure a reason that I was up against a monster in my life. And I was so scared in that situation that these two people that were supposed to love me the most in my life were just targeting me in worse ways, hurting me in worse ways, that were to use my own house while I was gone, or when I was just 10 minutes away on those rollerblades, making me feel the same way, word salading the fuck out of my head. And then, like, it doesn't matter if I was an hour away or 10 minutes away, like I said, because they had thought, I believe they had thought that they had every angle covered to where I wasn't going to be able to live through the attacks. But I was throwing away coffee that I was getting based on the fact that I felt that there was cyanide or arsenic or something in there to mean for a chemical attack. Oh, I don't think cyanide was that attack, but I actually think this last attack was cyanide when I study it, because it's chemical, and how it made me feel was like, fucking hey, man. I'm lucky to be alive. That's what I think. I'm lucky to be here at all, to be able to explain this shit at all. And so I'm trying to figure out what consists of an actual police report, because I've had to fight for my life, and I'm fighting covert targeting behaviors and unable to see where it's coming from at the times. Well, at the time it seemed like no one believed me that any of this stuff was going on. And it's even scarier because it's like, you know, people within my own family basically, like, unknowing these things, just kind of throwing me under the bus, not wanting to deal with it, and just simply not wanting to believe a thing is happening to me that I couldn't really explain, or rather just be able to explain at all, to say something was happening to me at all that I couldn't explain. And each time it was something that was happening to me. I wasn't able to even be able to figure it out or try and think to where it was coming from. Rather, I'd just deal with the attacks as they happened. Life goes on, right? You gotta fight. So you're in this fight. You're becoming this warrior of this warrior mindset, where you're just being pushed out of your own life, your own ability to think and reason. How do I escape this? When I couldn't even see where it was coming from again. And not to mention that without the poisoning, it was even a greater attack against me and my reasoning skills to be able to target my life. And it targeted me in my social life, my financial life, and my love life in the worst ways that you could even imagine. At least this is how this war has been made to feel over me. And while I'm making my ends meet, barely at times, while these two were trying to covertly ruin my life, all while I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm unable for so long to figure anything out. So how is that even fair for the police to suggest that in order to get an investigation into something that matters to me in my life and being able to live it, as to like to have proof? And well, and for which case they're talking about 28 years that I'm just being made dumb by someone that I believed loved me, and I loved him. I loved these people, but there's no way that they could have loved me. And so I'm just being made dumb, like I said, unable. And it's just like, how could you even suggest that this man loved me? I was asking him to hold frame for me when it came to my woman here, and there's no way that he was able to hold frame, and he didn't. And this fact that neither could she couldn't leave me alone, but he couldn't leave me alone because he had reasons of his own that I couldn't find out about who he was and how he was willing to move with my life, my information. And then they were attacking me nonstop in the recent, when I told them that one way or another, I'm going to take you to court. I'm not going to allow you to place me in this kind of duress without a recourse of action that I have to take to even secure my rights. And even if the police can't see a thing about it, I am in duress. Clearly in duress, if you ask me. It has nothing to do with any kind of mental health crises at all. Rather, it's just that narcissism to purposefully drive you into looking crazy. It's called crazy making. When people do that to you, it's called that they're doing things to make you crazy and make you look crazy, so that things are harder for you to even be able to come out and talk about. And I think it's just easier I think it's just easier for people to suggest that it has something to do with mental health, just because they don't want to actually take a look at a thing for what it is, in which case it's just fucked. Because if it were happening to them for such a long time and they had troubles reaching discovery on it, and mind you, you're confronting these people, you're confronting them, and they're like, their face turning beet red, and you're just catching them red-handed, really. And there's nothing that they're going to be able to do to hold frame for you in this long-standing of kind of friend, or even in the relationship that you're in. But being that it's all fucked me out of my mind, I'm unable to reason at times as to see anything that could be happening to me at all. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, there's like something going on mentally there that was like them doing it to me to purposefully push me out of being able to find that these things are happening. And then for the most part, it's just they're denying you that reasonability to find that place out. And then for the most part, when you're poisoned up, you're just basically on autopilot. You're unable to reason through it. You just kind of give up internally, because it's just so hard to reason through anything or to see anything going on. And so you just move about as such, hoping that you figure things out, hoping that you run into things to figure things out, and that you'd be really grateful for it. But the point is that how are you supposed to actually collect that understanding, so that you can actually create a police report that's going to be understood that is a premeditated murder over your life by a close friend that's actually trying to remove you? Because these things happen all the time. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it all over the news. And so, without actually the police work actually being able to protect you from a crime before that actually happens, and people are just being murdered without any fucking recourse of action that anybody could take. And so, with you going through this, it's going to feel overwhelming. You're going to be feeling trapped by a circumstance and a situation that's incredibly complex and distressing. So you got to break down the steps as far as like what you need in order to understand like what solid evidence is and what it would consist of. But then this is where I run into the problem, because just having the officer over here in the first place was to tell him that these things are happening, and then it's like they're deflecting it and making it a mental health crisis or a mental health issue. I don't think it's a mental health issue, because understanding the nature of evidence, these types of evidence, the police look for tangible evidence, and that can substantiate the substantial claims that you're making. And so I'm working obviously with ChatGPT here. Like, what can I actually consist of in my plight to actually build a thing for a case as far as this is concerned. So I want medical records, documentation of all of my health issues, every single last one, every single test for toxins, every single relevant or irrelevant diagnosis that has to do with me. I want witness statements, testimonies from friends, family, or coworkers who can confirm any of my work, behaviors, or experiences at all. Anyone that can record anything to me and get it to me in due time or in fast time and quick time can actually help me in this case. So past workplaces that I've worked at, any kind of weird behaviors or experiences that you can actually write down and submit it to me either by email or over Facebook or whatever. You just get it to me. Please help me in this. And then financial records, bank statements showing any unusual transactions or decreases in financial resources to prove for that kind of blight being pushed into your life. And then text message and emails, communications with the individuals involved that demonstrate threatening behavior, manipulation, or emotional abuse, which is definitely all there, and I have definitely a lot of evidence as far as that is concerned. It's just it would be really hard to put down together all of the avenues and how it happened and be able to break everything down, especially when these things have just been breaking me down my whole fucking life. It'd be really hard for me to get through all of that kind of information on my own. And so just them asking for hard evidence coming from a fucking victim of this insane crime is just beyond fucking reasonable to me for it to be even thought of as like this is something that someone can actually get through themselves. It can be like destroyed up on the fucking soul level when they're having narcissistic abuse after narcissistic abuse after narcissistic abuse, and it's patterns in their life that is legitimately poisoning them up and making them feel like they are legitimately just eradicating you. And so you have to document all of your experiences. I started keeping a journal and writing everything down from what I could remember about my experiences, including dates and times and specific events that were happening to me in my life, and what would happen, how it would happen. Was it targeted behavior, or was it just the world being evil as an evil world is? Everyone knows it's evil. I know for a fact that these things that are happening to me are well beyond just an evil world being evil. These things are targeted, and they're behaviors that correlate with the interactions I have with others, that prove to me without a reasonable doubt that these events and specific events are to leave me outside of myself and unable to defend myself in that case. And then on top of it, while I'm working on my journal goes away. I can't recreate that. I can't redo everything word by word, and I can't simply use my time twice to be able to do the same thing that is always happening to me, always happening to me, and always happening to me over and over. So I'm left to create a timeline in my mind, because I'm not away. I'm away from my anything that I have to be able to record anything. All I can do is work, and I'm being set into this life that's just like, you're eradicated. All you can do is work to not only pay back the government for the shit fucking brigade that they made over my life with a bunch of tickets, but at the same time I had to support myself, homeless, and at the same time I was not paid about $3,000 worth of money to me prior. So all of my time and energy has been stripped from me from my past, and all of my time and energy is being stripped from me in my current, and then all of my time and energy is stripped from me for my future. And then once I get through all that and was able to get to a place where I wasn't supposed to be able to get to because I just worked my ass off to get here, then all of these attacks start happening again. And so I'm just trying to create that timeline of organized events chronologically to help illustrate the patterns of the changes in my life that coincide with the specific behaviors or symptoms that these people are telling or saying. And then the third part is getting medical help. Get a comprehensive evaluation, consult a healthcare professional who can assess your physical and mental health, explain your symptoms and concerns about potential poisonings and toxic exposure. Now, when I've done certain things like this before, just about the parasites, and in the situation where my journal has disappeared, I ended up getting delusional parasitosis when I legitimately was feeling crawly all over. I legitimately went into a shelter where I was diagnosed with it finally, and then everyone's cleaning up their stuff, everyone's getting their clothes thrown in bags, and everyone's just freaking out. It was just fucking amazing. I was like, wow, all of this over little old me. I fucking was just trying to fucking get out of this fucking urban blight. Anyway, I'm like trying to present the case logically here, and the reason is because, well, right here, I mean, I was only given maybe like 20 minutes. I'm like, where is my ability to create a police report? Is there a police report created? And where is my ability to get a restraining order against both the said parties that have been attacking me, who have been aiming to remove me from the world, who have been aiming to take out my life? You see what I mean? And so without me able to actually get those things into play, and then treating me just as such, tells me that it's a bigger thing that has to do with what I know about the trafficking that's going on underneath the earth. And it's a lot huger than P. Diddy and Hollywood and the medical fucking field, and the police here and there, and these Jesuits that are running with the Freemasons and all that kind of stuff. It has a lot more to do with the seriously underground, people you don't even know exist. Rather, I think it goes a lot darker, because I've seen some stuff that I'm 15 minutes into an hour-long video, and it disappears, and I'm like, oh my god, I should have been writing all of what I was just seeing and whatever down. And these things are just scary, you guys. People should be able to come out here with any kind of truth. And if we don't have an education that actually gives us an education to think for ourselves and to reason for ourselves, you're not getting an education. You're getting an indoctrination camp, and that's as simple as it is. It is as simple as it is. Another area is to request toxicology tests. Ask for specific tests to check for toxins or substances that could explain your symptoms, and be clear about your suspicions. I don't know how this works when you're seeking medical help or talking to a psych evaluator, because all of these things are not going to give you the length of time to explain a crime of 23 years or 30 years. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to give you the time. The police aren't going to give you the time. And it's just, everything's just being siphoned away from you. You see, you're a targeted individual, and these are the things that are happening to you based on the facts of what you know, what you've dealt with, and what people have in the rebuttal to hide from. So they need your tongue stripped away from you so badly so that they're aiming at taking your life away from you. So next is engaging in law enforcement to present your case clearly when speaking with the police. Be direct and concise. Present your documented evidence timeline and be specific about the incidents of concerns, even though I don't think these things matter, because look, I do these things and they're pushing me to medical help, and then the medical help is just seeking me to get that. They're not looking to get subpoenaed into court or anything. They're specifically so they can help you with your mental health. See what I mean? So when you're going for mental health, it's because you have a mental health issue. It's not because they're trying to determine that you don't have a mental health issue. They're trying to determine that you do. And most times, all the times, people have these mental health conditions, or conditions that suggest that they have these mental health conditions, even though they're being eradicated, or even though they have other criminal activities happening to them. You see what I'm saying? And then they aren't allowing you to your own thoughts concisely because the radio's on and other things are happening. And because you are already poisoned, or you have been poisoned, you're already having trouble being able to explain through a thing happening to you in the first place. And it's kind of a scary deal, because you really want the help. You really feel like if you can get the help that you deserve, you can actually get through this stuff. But if you're not able to get through that with the officer there on the spot without it just turning into something that it's not, well, it's just more abuse. Do you see what I mean? And so you should be able to express your feelings and emotions, regardless if you're speculating or not, when it comes to these things, because people are plotting. People are plotting, and they are moving in absolution name to take your life. And you have every right to protect yourself from these situations, no matter what. If you ask me, when you're left in duress, no matter what the law says, you have inalienable rights that are given to you by the Lord. No one has the right to use your life as property. No one has the right to steal up your data. No one has the right to aim at your life, to steal your love life away. No one has the right to do these things. So express yourself and show how the situation has affected your mental health and your emotional well-being, and explain the patterns that you've noticed and how they've impacted your life. And with this, I don't think it even matters, again, because they're not trying, as a TI, as a targeted individual, they're not trying to get at how they can help you get out of the targeting. You know what I mean? They are targeting you. They are trying to push you into worse places, because, and I say this because without a shadow of a doubt, I say this because you can't come into a situation where someone's saying that they've been being premeditated murdered and plotted on to be premeditated murder, leaving your fucking radio on and not even allowing them to 25 minutes to talk to you. Yeah, leave me enough room where I can talk to you for a movie's length of time for like a week straight, every day, and then some. Allow me some time to actually explain to you what the fuck is going on in my life, so you can actually get a fucking barrier around a thing happening to me, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm not happy about how I was treated here. I'm not happy about how I was treated here, because it's just to push you into more more urban blight. And if that's not being seen, then it is what it is, I guess. But when you're left without your financial resources, you're left without your reasons. The next thing on the list makes no sense. Seeking legal advice. You can seek all the legal advice you want, but without the money to be able to pay the lawyers with, who specialize in injury or harassment, that can provide the guidance and your rights and options pursuing legal action, they might be able to help you understand what constitutes as evidence in your case. But as far as actually being able to constrict those things when you're actually a targeted individual, how are you supposed to be able to do that? And that's why I'm out here trying to fight for my case, defend for myself, asking for money, because not only do I need it for a legal defense, I'm trying to build a thing about this thing, because I don't want to become an article. You see, I have a movement, I have a mission, and it's very formidable. And just even without the website, just me being able to get out there and work with people, I might be able to save lives. Yeah, I will be able to save lives, I should say. And I don't think that these people want me to do that. Just like FEMA doesn't want to go and actually, or FEMA's not allowing people to go and give people aid that they're said to give. They're saying that they're giving them $650 or $750. Like, what good is that when you're giving $6,500 over Ukraine? Like, it makes no kind of common sense to me. And what can they even buy? They've been eradicated. They're like out of their minds. They're like not allowed to get help, and people that are even like coming there to help them aren't even being allowed to go help them. It's a huge anchor on what consists of love in this country, and love is just a fucking wash shit. Like, you want that Hallmark kind of love? Is that the kind of love that you want to believe in? Go ahead and believe in that kind of love. If that's all you fucking got, I don't have any kind of consideration for any of you that want to just believe in that Hallmark kind of value love. God isn't love. There is no God. I beg to differ. I beg to differ, because this is how we are treated out here, and this is how you think you're going to get away with treating people out here. I beg to differ. I'm sorry. I beg to differ. So the next part is considering filing a restraining order. If you feel threatened, an attorney can help you file for a restraining order and get those involved that you need to get involved. Well, where's my advocate for that? They're not even taking the police report down. And without me being able to get to a place in that way to work with an attorney to get a restraining order, how is I supposed to be able to get that? As even an answer back to the ways that I'm being mismanaged. And so another part is finding support systems. Reach out to support groups, connecting with groups of victims of mental abuse, abuse in and of itself, or any of the narcissistic abuse, sociopathy, or targeted individual stuff. Any kind of trauma-based support systems, and just practical advice from friends, family, or otherwise. Talk to trusted friends and family, and share your situation with those who you can trust, so that they may be able to help you document your experiences, or even provide support and conversations that they themselves have had with you, and write down those conversations. Like, legitimately, if I've had a conversation with you about the targeted individual thing, write down my conversation. Write down to your memory the conversation that I had with you, what I was experiencing and all that stuff. Write it down and get it to me, please. This stuff can actually help me. Please write it down for me. I know I've talked to a lot of you guys out here, and I know that you guys think I'm nuts. But I'm not. This is definitely narcissistic, sociopathic behaviors that is making a person look crazy for intent, with the same absolution and aim as the poisonings and everything else was. The word salad alone in other people's situations, many, and I'm talking many, and especially people younger than me, suicide. How are you going to do that to a person? How are you going to feel comfortable doing that to a person, or leaving a person in that? So please, I'm asking you, if I've had a conversation with you about this targeted individual stuff, or parasites, or any of these things, please write down the conversations that I've had with you. Because oftentimes I'm not going to be able to remember these things, because I've been so fucking poisoned up, man. When I'm getting my memories back, it literally fucking ties me to the ground, like cinches me to the ground in pain. I mean, you want to talk about flapping in the wind? That's what my heart feels like. So I'm trying to establish a safety plan. I have an awesome warriors plan to take back my life, but I'm unable to work those plans. My safety plan develops what you would consider these threats against you, and it's to be able to be around friends, family members, or people that you can trust, places you can go to and feel safe, and strategies that you can make for avoiding any kind of confrontation as far as where chemical attacks can come up. But oftentimes these people are complete ghosts. You don't even see who they are. You don't know who they are. They're just like the smear campaigns or the street theater that is mentioned, where they're basically taking Hollywood to the streets to target the fuck out of people. Another form is using safe communication methods. If you're concerned about being monitored, consider using encrypted messaging apps for sensitive conversations, even though I don't really think these things help or do anything. It's just something that is mentioned here. And advocating for yourself. Stay persistent. It can be frustrating if you feel dismissed, but continue to advocate for yourself even when it feels like you're at your wit's ends. Follow up with law enforcement. I'm thinking about calling them every day. I mean, I've thought about it. Like, if that's going to be the case, I'm going to call you over here every fucking day until something fucking happens, because I'm not going to fucking put up with someone trying to fucking aim at my life after knowing them that long and asking them to hold frame for me knowing that that's the way that they could have potentially moved before. So I'm already in a resolve, or like a resolution for my own love life, where if this motherfucker has ever was ever going to do this to me again, I was going to answer back with every forceful action that I could fucking take against this motherfucker, because I'm not going to put up with that. I am not going to put up with that, and neither would anybody else. And I've even found many situations with officers who have had their wives cheating on them, or what have you, where the motherfucker ends up dead. All right, and you can't tell me that that's not true. Go look it up yourself. Go look it up yourself. Educate yourself constantly. Research the symptoms of these poisonings. Research the poisons themselves. Research emotional abuse. Research narcissistic abuse. Research sociopathy. Any and all related material that has to do with this stuff. Research it. This can help you articulate your situation better, to understand what you are going through, what you're experiencing, and even if you are speculating in circumstances, I think the matters are much worse than you could ever discover when it comes down to that fact, because that person is sick as fuck who could do that to a person. And I'm saying that because of the person that I grew up as, and I'm saying that because if he was targeting me in that way, and I was the person that was being aimed at in that way, with the same conclusion to be able to be brought to the public about me, well, then I'm just being eradicated clearly out of myself. In my defense, that's how it feels. It's like you experience legit many deaths daily, through the word salad and all that kind of stuff that's meant to like legitimately strip you of self, cause you that duality in your mind. You're not a whole mind anymore. You are a split mind that is not yourself, but rather what is being done to you, that these people are trying to stop you from even being able to get legal recourse of action to be able to take against the people that would do these things to you. So, in conclusion, it's understandable to feel frustrated in such complicated situations, especially when it involves feelings of betrayal and fear for your safety. It's important to take things one step at a time and focus on gathering information and support. Your experiences are valid, your emotions are valid, and seeking help from the right resources might be a crucial step to regaining your control of your life. If you feel unsafe or in immediate danger, please reach out to emergency services on a crisis hotline for immediate support. You deserve to feel safe and supported. The problem that I have with this is that I don't. I don't feel safe and I don't feel supported. What it was otherwise to signify in my life or for my life was that it's not even my heart. It's not even my physical heart it's my mental health that they're after. And it's to target me as far as making me be someone I'm not, when I know for a fact I'd be worth a whole lot more if I was not being targeted for the past 28 years of my life by this man. Because it's everywhere that I've been where he's getting involved, all of a sudden I'm being poisoned. I don't have the memory to even remember that he's actually trying to insinuate that he's doing it to me, so that it's to push me over the ledge, to cause a fight where he doesn't have to deal with it anymore. And that's with where it was trying to go. So I ignored that part and I just played that fucking game, because it's like, okay, you're gonna do this to me. You're gonna do this to me. And then every once in a while, I don't even know what's being done to me. And then you just come up into my life and act like a friend. Oh, hey, buddy, how's it going? See what I'm saying? So it's incredibly challenging to deal with situations when your concerns are being taken into mental health issues rather than real-life dangers that are present as criminal threats to you, your life, your availability to your life, your resources, your availability to money, your availability to even secure your own place, secure your own body, secure your own mind. So I even suggested to the police, like, can you provide me with an advocate then that can get me through the information that I even have, all of my data or whatever, so that we can find the evidence that I need. Because without me actually being able to present the situation chronologically in order and logically and calmly, no one's listening to me. And it's really hard to do all three of those things at once, while at the same time organizing documents, evidence that's being stolen from me through a hack. And where else did it go? Where else did it go when I'm just touching on the fact of a motherfucker that needs to move that way in absolution with my life over my love life, over where he's moved on me with my love life? So I think the man has every avenue left in his mind, fearing who I am, fearing what I'm capable of, and fearing me in complete ways, because he should. I'm not afraid of him. I loved him. And if anyone's going to have fear in anybody over the Lord, over their own friend, that should be a telltale sign right there. So I should be able to explain the awareness that I have gained through the situation, where I've gained it, where I've lost it, all of those things, to also be able to avoid the confrontation of there being speculation. That the things that I'm coming out with are true and real, and no matter what parts of it are speculative, that there's truth inside of it because of the fact of just bringing up the possibility of there being the criminal behavior is the accusation that I'm taking out with it being aimed at my life, to take my life away for anyone else to ever have known anything. And then it's also taking away my ability to demonstrate self-awareness, because to mask a person as something that isn't, and to push them into more blight, to push them into the care of people that could otherwise constrict them into more of the blight that they've already dealt with in the past. Do you see what I'm saying? Because of a thing that's happening to them, then it just happens over and over, and then all of a sudden it's just, you're deemed as crazy, you're deemed as someone that needs help, you got mental health issues, you're talking all crazy, so you're not making any sense, and people just don't have it together within their own minds to put two and two together at all. And if we can't put two and two together at all, then what's the point? What's the point of even coming out here suggesting that we have a legal system that is to help prevent victims from being murdered? Because people out here are being murdered all the time. And most times, they're not being recognized as murders. They're being recognized as heart attacks, strokes, and otherwise. Sudden death, written on the obituaries of millions who are being murdered. So I'm seeking advocacy in this, because if you have a story, if you have something that you remember of a story that you thought was pertinent to my story here that might help me, just might help me, put it together, write it to me, get it to me. Please, I ask you for your cooperation in this, because this can actually be the beginning of saving my life. So will you do that for me? If you remember a conversation with me that has anything to deal with this, you might be remembering something that I don't still today remember that can actually help me present a case to the police to actually take this into investigations to make it so. I don't care if he works for the CIA. I don't care if these people are in cahoots with actual abilities to snuff people out on levels like you wouldn't fucking believe. I have no consideration or care for anyone that can act insipidly in that way to undermine somebody's life and make them just nothing. You don't mean nothing. You can take my life, you can manipulate my life, you can psychologically mess with my life. But as soon as I come to find out who you are, you're going to move with absolution and aim to steal me up out of life, liberty, justice, or any which way to silence me, strip me of my tongue, and kill me. So I'm seeking that advocacy because I have every right to seek for that advocacy. It's crucial to approach these situations calmly and rationally, focusing on presenting facts over feelings, and remaining pertinent during crisis times. While psychiatric evaluations are designed to assess the mental health, being organized, clear, and factual presenting your case can help differentiate between a psychological issue and an actual criminal activity. This is my hope. And I stay firm in the belief that within myself and continuing to seek through the right channels to ensure my concerns are going to be addressed properly, that I hope that they actually are. Because I'm tired of being twisted from what I'm calling a criminal activity or something that's happening to me in my life and it being taken into a psychological issue or something that they can give me a diagnosis from a medical professional. It doesn't even fucking care whether or not I was being fucking murdered or not. Whether or not I lived through 23 attacks or 59 attacks or 400. They don't have one fucking ideology of a fucking considerable heart within them when it comes to those things. The only thing that they're looking for is what can we give him to target the symptoms of whatever said mental crises thing that they're experiencing. Whatever they're experiencing, it's to turn the criminal activity that you're experiencing into a diagnosis for a mental health crisis, a psychological issue, rather than the criminal activity that is present. So I thank you for getting this far, and again, if you can write me up anything that you remember from my life, me coming forward to you about things in a formidable way that you can remember, just please write down as much of it as you can remember. That's all I ask. It might be able to save my life. Thank you very much.